the Boston bombers, the Muslim in Oklahoma who decapitated that poor lady, the Fort Hood shooter. It's not so much about, or it's not only about the ones who are coming, it's about the ones who are here. We hear this phrase a lot, lone wolves. And the other one now that's becoming very popular is, he self-radicalized. What does that even mean? I'm fixing to tell you. It means that a Muslim read the Quran, probably more importantly, the Sunnah or the Hadith, and the biographies of Muhammad. Before the Chattanooga murderer killed those Americans, he wrote to his fellow Muslims trying to get them to join him in jihad. And he said, take as your guide the Quran and the Sunnah. The Sunnah is the example left by Muhammad himself. So, listen, we've had death threats sent from Texas, half an hour away from Garland, Texas, okay? Written death threats to us for telling the truth. So, Pamela Geller, think of her living with police protection. Others that have been threatened. Why? Because it's a part of the fiber of Islam. There's a storyline, there's a narrative. In the West, we have Jesus, Christmas, the manger scene, the Magi coming. Right? We have Jesus changing water into wine, opening the eyes of the blind, dying, rising from the dead. We have Easter, Christmas. Do you understand? They have a completely different set of stories, a completely different hero named Muhammad with a storyline that most of us know nothing about. If I say to you, Badar, what does it mean to you? If I say the trench, what does it mean to you? If I say Uhud, what does it mean to you? If I say abrogation, what does it mean? In other words, there is an entire lexicon, an entire body of words that have no meaning to us. But they're the very words that the Chattanooga shooter was reading, that the Fort Hood shooter was reading, that the man who decapitated the woman in Oklahoma was reading. That's how they self-radicalize. They just read the biographies on Muhammad's life. They read the Hadith, the record of Muhammad's words and deeds that are not in the Quran. I'm going to focus on that for a minute. For those of you who are new, Islam is made up of the Quran. We all can pretty much guess that, but not just the Quran. It's the Quran and the example of Muhammad. Muslims call his example the traditions of the Prophet. That's what they call them. And the Quran, coupled with Muhammad's traditions that are not recorded in the Quran, that is Islam. Well, Randall, where are they recorded? They're recorded in books that are called the Hadith. Another word for Muhammad's traditions are called his Sunnah. That's a path. That word means path that is trodden or an example to be followed. Well, his example is recorded in books that are called the Hadith. Okay? His Sunnah is the example. The record of his Sunnah, where it's recorded, is called the Hadith. And you can see behind me, multiple volumes. Can we get a tight shot on that one? Right there. That's 7, 8 volumes of Hadith. That's another 8 or 9 volumes of Hadith. But that multiple set back there, I'll get out of the way. That's all Al-Tabari. That's all on Muhammad's life and the life of early Islam. The Quran is a very small book. It's about 1/8 the size of the Old and New Testaments, okay? It's a small book. But this stuff, this is millions of words. This is what they're studying. And to understand why they do what they do, we must know our enemy. We must read what they read, even if it's just a portion of it. We need to be like Winston Churchill, who read Mein Kampf.